Hi, this is Kylie with Fem and Flow. I hope everyone's having a great day. So, today will be a short episode. Sometimes I hear friends or people I love talk about God, their faith, and their life, and mention, well, I know God doesn't care if I have money or am successful, but, and then go into if you deep down feel that there's something bigger, that God, the universe, all of this energy is working in your favor, then you view your future as bright. So I don't agree when people always preface this by saying, well, I know God doesn't care about that. Because I want to stop you right there. The dark global elite has done a great job hijacking Christianity and creating organized religions that teach, program, and push that God is a man or a figure that looks down upon us and only cares about our well being when it comes to love, sacrifice, and forgoing worldly items in return for an eternal life in heaven. Sure, God doesn't care if you have money or are successful, but not for these reasons organized religion shares. I was raised in Christianity and I grew up going to a Methodist church. And I specifically and vividly remember one day when we were talking about John Wesley, the founder of the Methodist Church, and how he gave all of his money away. And you see this as a common theme in Christianity and other organized religions. You know, we hear money's the root of all evil and on about how you could be corrupted if you are successful and you have money. That is very convenient for this dark global elite who literally treat us like they're little slaves and they keep all the money. They tax us, they control the economy, yada yada. It goes on and on. We are so controlled and they control us by money. Guys, wake up. Let's stop listening to these narratives that just feed into this control. That you're good and you are God fearing and you're humble and you're going to make it to heaven if you just don't care about success, don't care about money, just be humble. Give your money to the church. Put an extra 20 in the offering bin. Another thing I hear narrative wise is, yeah, if we suffer here, we'll get our reward in heaven. And it seems like people completely ignore what's going on here because they think if they're just a perfect Christian, act accordingly, follow the 10 Commandments, ask for forgiveness for their sins, and just don't pay much attention to what's going on here except for following these rules, that it's all going to pay off because then you'll get into heaven. Just take a step back and think about this. Remember that early Christianity was hijacked so the dark global elite could remain in control. They had to hide our true divine sovereign nature so we wouldn't wake up and realize this is completely bogus and take our power back. Mary Magdalene and Jesus were two beings that came to earth to show others our true divine nature, to spread truth, and to wake people up. But I've said this in other episodes, the truth was altered to fit the dark elite control narrative. And I'm talking of Christianity here because that's what I'm closest to. Like I mentioned, I was raised in Christianity and raised in the Methodist Church. But the dark global elite have hijacked other great teachings from other prophets as well, all to remain in control, to hide this truth, to hide that we are actually meant to be sovereign and divine and create our own reality. Organized religion is one of the dark global elite's pillars of control. At first, they just grabbed them all, hijacked early Christianity by altering the story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And now, like the frog boiling in a pot of water analogy, They slowly lead everyone towards their Luciferian ways. I mean, just think about how the story of Jesus in the Bible is one of sacrifice, and modern day Christians completely believe this. The pot is boiling, but the frog has no idea. But back to God not caring. God isn't a man who cares or causes wrath. God definitely needs no sacrifices. Our culture suffers from this idea of God poison. You see, God is the great mystery, the divine mind, all there is, source energy. God has no beginning and no end. God makes up everything. To compare God to a man that causes wrath or requires a sacrifice is so far from the truth of God. God is source energy, the great mystery. God is literally pure consciousness, and we are consciousness. And in a way, we are God, the universe exploring itself. God is so magnificent and beyond comprehension that it's wild. We are programmed to sit here on, I guess, what we perceive as a spinning rock, working 9 to 5 jobs, paying taxes, and working as slaves. This is absolute slavery compared to what should be. And I don't think people even comprehend what I mean when I say sovereign. That is totally free, completely in control of ourselves. Truly, we create our reality. I'm not just saying that on some fluffy manifestation affirmation level. It's our true divine nature, and we truly need to wake up to this. Okay, so you might say, okay, but what should be? So, what should be is absolute pure bliss, total sovereignty, a life of love and compassion, total freedom, total freedom. Us being creator beings, literally creating our wildest dreams and our biggest fantasies. So, what is your dream? What would you do if money were no object? So, think about what you perceive to be your level of creativity is. Let all of that go. What would you create if you were so creative, had all the gifts, all the passions? What would you create with that? Literally think no constraints. What would you build? Who would you be? And what would your life look like? That is what your life should be and will be for eternity. Forget all this stuff about, oh, we come to earth and our soul learns lessons. Guys, we have eternity. We don't need to come here and be slaves to this system and have a hard life. This life is hard. This is a challenge. We don't need to come here and experience this. We have eternity. So start dreaming of your eternal bliss. What will you create? We have literally been lied to. We seriously need to wake up to all of these lies and wake up to our true divine nature and wake up to the fact that we literally can create whatever we want here. Like I said, God does not need any sacrifices from us. God is not some man or being in the sky or in another realm that's judging us or watching how we perform or obey. God is an amazing energy that literally creates everything, creates you, creates me, is pure consciousness. So that energy is there for us to harness and create with. So if we're programmed to create in this way, we can just create whatever the global elite is programming and narrating for us. Whatever they're putting out, we create that with this amazing God energy. Or we could take that and literally create our wildest reality, our wildest dreams, our dream life, and we can literally live in our dream life for eternity. So, back to what I said in the beginning. So, yeah, God doesn't care if you're successful or have money in this reality, but do you care? whatever you're putting your mind, where you're putting your emotions, the frequency of your emotions, that's what you are creating. And you're doing that with God energy, with this amazing source energy. That's what you're doing this with. You can create your own heaven or your own hell. So we need to wake up to this very high level fact of how these different realities work. And if you listen to some of my other podcasts, you know this earth is just an experience with a certain set of constraints, how it operates. And this experience has been hijacked by this dark global elite. But once we get out of this, there's so many other experiences that are complete bliss, complete freedom. This is what we archetypally call heaven. And in these realms, these other experiences, this is where we build whatever we want and live for eternity. You literally build your dream life. So we need to stop thinking about God in the terms of this God poison program that the global elite has set out to program and narrate. We need to stop thinking in terms of feeling bad if we are going after success or going after more money, because money is the currency we have here to buy and create. Which money, that's a whole different topic. That's a way the global elite stays in power. That's not how other experiences work. But for now, we're operating with money, and money's a currency, and money is an energy. It's totally fine to want money, to want to be successful, to get more money, because that's how we build. And literally, at our core, we are creator beings. So forget all of that. Forget feeling bad at all about wanting success, wanting a job, wanting more money, and then thinking, oh, but I feel like God doesn't care about that. God wants me to be humble. God wants me to do XYZ. Just forget about all that. Like, let's forget this God poison. What do you want for your life? Step into your power, understand your divinity, understand that yes, you work with pure God source energy. And like I said, you can create your own heaven or your own hell depending on what you believe, because that is tied to the emotional frequency that you're putting out into the quantum. So just keep all of that in mind. Just think about it on a big picture level. Do you think this life where we have to work 9 to 5 and pay bills and taxes, this is what we are here for? If you believe God, if you believe in this omnipotent God and you feel that in your heart and you felt that love and that amazing expanded feeling, absolutely not a chance. We are so blinded to the truth. The truth is amazing. We literally get to create whatever we want, our dream life for eternity. If you're looking on Pinterest or social media or whatever, and there's stuff you admire and you think, oh my gosh, that's beautiful, that's amazing, I love that. That would be my dream style. This would be my dream garden, blah, blah, blah. Wake up, like this is what you can create and live for eternity. We're just in this crazy experience that is not like the others. This is not eternity. So just keep that in mind. If you're listening to this and you listen to my episodes, I assume you have felt that omnipotent, amazing feeling of God, that feeling of something greater than us as individuals, that overwhelming feeling of love that just rushes over you. Does this match with what organized religion explains God as? To me, absolutely not. And that's the idea of God poison. But unfortunately, getting programmed from an early age or experiencing trauma can really make a difference and really alter your direction. And for the global elite, the dark global elite, the name of their game is trauma. When they cause these traumatic events, we get stuck in fight or flight. Our nervous system is dysregulated, and we need a healthy nervous system to truly manage and be fully in charge of our emotions. And our emotions are what we use to create our reality. I talk about this in so many episodes, so go listen if that's interesting to you. So, we really need to keep this in mind and look back at all the ways we were programmed growing up and maybe traumatic moments that could have led us in a certain direction. We just really need to step back and take a big picture look at it and be really honest and look at it with clear eyes. Think about having clear eyes now. I think it's pretty obvious to people that our mainstream media is pure propaganda. And think about this, you can tie any lie to a piece of resonating truth, and people will be more likely to believe it. And don't think the global elite hasn't set up traps at all angles. Like, think about this. If you start to see the truth and then you have a spiritual awakening, you feel God or the love of Jesus. When you feel that omnipotent feeling of God or the love of Jesus, and you feel that intense, magnificent energy that you know there's something bigger than you probably are yearning for more, you're thirsting for knowledge, you're wanting to learn more about it, but all the truth has been hidden. And then there's all these prevailing narratives of organized religion out there. So people might just go straight to what the prevailing narrative is and think, okay, I felt this feeling of God. I felt this love. I know it was God. I know it was something much bigger. What is this? And the prevailing narrative that is out there is organized religion and truly God poison. So you feel that, then you go running to what's out there in society. So I just think be careful with that. Don't just go running straight to that prevailing narrative. And I see that with experience because when I had my spiritual awakening, well, my first spiritual awakening, I felt this overwhelming sense of God, sense of peace, sense of a bigger picture and a bigger plan for my life. And I already mentioned how I was raised in Christianity and the Methodist Church, and I grew up in an area where a lot of people are Christians, and that's how they would explain themselves. So that was the narrative in my mind that was right there. So after I felt that overwhelming sense of peace and love and that omnipotent energy, that's the narrative I went to at first. So I started reading the Bible like crazy. And I will say that, yes, Jesus's words really resonated with me. The love he talked about and the beautiful way he spoke. And that's in the Bible. And that's what I went to at first. Then I stepped back and started to see different sides and different perspectives. And during this time, I didn't automatically just have this perspective that I have now. I went down different paths and explored different things, and I was truly just seeking truth. I wanted the real truth, not some script to follow that would make me feel like I could pat myself on the back and like I was following what society or an organized religion says is good. That's not what I wanted. I wanted truth, and that's not always a clean process. A lot of truth has been hidden from us. So it just took me going down different avenues, exploring a lot of different ideas until I got to where I am now, where I do feel like I have greater insight and I do feel like I can see the bigger picture a lot clearer. And I'm definitely not saying I have it all figured out. That's just where I am at now. And don't be afraid to explore and seek the truth. I just really think don't just go running straight into the arms of the prevailing narrative because on the big picture, we see a lot of stuff in society is all lies. This is basically a house of cards, And the mainstream media we're being fed is all lies and all propaganda. So if you believe that, why would you go running straight into the arms of whatever the prevailing narrative is? And there's definitely beautiful parts of religion and truth in it, but we're at a time where truly we are able to see the complete truth if we seek it out and if we explore. Don't be afraid to seek the truth. And I don't know where you're at on your own journey. I truly think once you get to this bigger picture level, it's more of a consciousness perspective than tying yourself to religion or spirituality. And what I mean by consciousness, I talk about it in other podcasts, but once you start diving into this and learning about the physics and the quantum physics and the quantum, you realize what we call spirituality is actually just reality, but it's just said in a different way. So once you get to that point and you realize, okay, we're actually just talking about reality here, how it works, we've just been blinded and the truth has been hidden from us. That's what I call more of the consciousness perspective. Just coming from a higher self view where you're just conscious of it all rather than tying yourself to an organized religion or even being tied to a spiritual ego. That's kind of what I'm talking about here. But okay, back to what I was saying. So I don't know where you're at on your own journey of higher consciousness, or if you want to call it your spiritual journey, whatever you want to call it, it really doesn't matter. I don't know where you're at on your own personal journey, but truly, I think just follow your own intuition and follow those intuitive pings and follow what naturally interests you. And if you follow that and just see what resonates and always just follow that little inkling of intuition, that's your path. Don't listen to someone else's path and think that's a way. There's no clear cut roadmap to this. That's why I'm not going into specifics of my journey or what I did. In this episode, at least, I do talk about more specifics on other episodes, but this one, I really just want to say truly follow your own intuition, what interests you, because we all are here for a reason. We all have a purpose, which I talk about in other episodes. Our purpose is just to be and be in that flow state where we are able to receive higher insights. We need to be in that flow state to receive higher guidance. And then once you're in that space, your mission will come to you, and we all are here for a specific mission. So, you following your truth and following what inspires or resonates to you will lead you to that specific mission. It's not going to look the same for everyone. Some people might be here to challenge industries, to challenge the status quo, to whistleblow, to point out what's wrong with the system and correct it. And some people might be here just to hold light and be love and light for others and impact the world that way. We seriously all have different missions, so no one path is the right way. And that might sound daunting, but it's not. Just get in touch with your heart, get in touch with yourself, and follow what interests you and what feels right. Sometimes I look back at what I talked about and it goes on a little windy path, but just know you're here for a reason. You have a mission. No matter where you are on your journey, your spiritual journey, your journey of higher consciousness, just follow your own intuition. Follow what interests you, follow what resonates, and don't be afraid to seek the truth and explore. And if you're early in your journey, just be aware of going straight into the arms of whatever prevailing narrative is out there because, as we can see, a lot of stuff in reality is all lies. History, mainstream media, propaganda. So just keep this aware. Trust yourself. You truly have the answers. And like I said, once you are in that purpose and you are in that flow state, you will receive higher guidance and higher insight that will truly lead you exactly where you need to go. So trust yourself and don't be afraid to seek the truth. And no, you truly create your own reality. We are divine beings. We have way more power than we ever have realized. This has just been hidden from us. So start dreaming up what you want to create and think of this in a realm of absolutely no constraints. Don't think about the money in your bank. Don't think of how creative you are. Think if you had literally zero constraints, what would you build? What would you create? What would your life look like? How would you live day to day? Literally just thinking about this, daydreaming about it, meditating on it, all of that, it actually does a lot. It has a lot of power. So put yourself in that space. Think of a world with no constraints and what you would do. And when you think about this, think of it on terms of what is good for you and good for humanity. Really dream and create out of a place of love and compassion. But remember, there's no constraints. Don't think of it in a way that if you build something huge and magnificent that it's going to take away from others. Don't think of it. Literally think of no constraints. What would you build? What would you dream? What is your reality? Literally start thinking of a life like that. Dream on those terms. It's time to step out of this box. I don't want to be in this box that we've been put in since birth. I'm done with that. It's bogus. So let's take our power back and start dreaming of our perfect life. And usually I found out that's what just really comes natural and what you're naturally drawn to. So just be the authentic you and have fun with it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Follow me and subscribe to hear more content like this. I'm also on TikTok, but I post the more bulk of my content here, I would say, on my podcast. So follow, send it to your friends and your loved ones. And I really just want to help everyone and help people seek the truth, find their truth, open their hearts, share their love with everyone and humanity. I love you and have a great day.